In the previous part of the video in which I discussed the introduction to the Murder in Cathedral, I told that T.S. Eliot wrote his play based on the historical story of Thomas Becket and King Henry II, the King of England. Now let us briefly discuss a synopsis of the play and discussing various aspects that relates to the story, that relates to the structure, and that relates to the characters in the play. Now when I talk of structure, the structure is somewhat this. There is part 1, then there is the interlude, and there is the part 2. And I told you that the play opens in Archbishop's Hall. This I didn't tell you in the last video. I just told that it starts with the chorus, right? And what is the place, what is the setting is? The play opens in Archbishop's Hall on December 2nd, 1170, right? And we have the character, the chorus. And who are the chorus? Chorus are a group of characters generally when we talk of poetic drama, or when chorus is used by, let us say, Greek dramatist. See, you have to remember one thing. Murder in the Cathedral is an attempt by T.S. Eliot to revive the poetic drama. This I have been telling you times and again, right? Now this aspect of being a poetic drama covers everything. Structure, the story, the characters. Now the role of chorus in itself comes, or the chorus is are what are called in the Greek tragedies as common characters, right? So here in this play, the chorus is a group of old women of Canterbury, and they are old women of Canterbury, and they gather at the cathedral and mention their fear that something bad and something terrible is about to happen. Why? Because Thomas Becket is returning after his 7 years. After spending 7 years of exile in France, he is coming back, and we do not know, the chorus is saying, we do not know how things are going to take shape, but we have a fear that something wrong, something bad might take place. Now here I would just like to tell you a little about the role of chorus. Of course, it comes from the Greek tragedy, I told you, and Eliot's use of the chorus is modeled on use of chorus in Aeschylus' tragedies. Aeschylus, the Greek dramatist, right? And here the chorus as a collective character is immediately and directly interested. Now this is what you have to keep in mind, that the chorus is obviously interested in what is going to happen to Thomas Becket and what implication or what affect of his coming back will come on them, right? So here the chorus as a collective character is immediately and directly interested in and affected by the outcome of the action, outcome of which action? His coming back, okay? And remember that the chorus, obviously, as it is patterned in the Greek tragedy, it performs the function of giving you an expository introduction, expository information about the background of the play. Exposition, as every play has, right? The act 1 is generally the exposition. Over here we have the chorus who is giving you the expository, introductory information about the background of the play. Now the women, they worry that his return would anger the king and would make their lives difficult. After Thomas Becket left England, the lives of the common people were already atrocious because of the treatment that was given to them by Henry II, right? And now they are thinking that if he comes back, if he takes over things, it may have a good impact on the citizens, right? Or things may worsen. This is the fear that they have, okay? So remember that as a poetic drama, the role of chorus is very, very significant. Not just at the beginning, but at times they'll come at various places in the play and telling you what is about to happen. One thing you have to remember, that like Becket, like us, the readers, they too do not know what the future would be. Okay, this you must remember. This is how the character of the chorus, the common characters, have been designed by the dramatists, Greek dramatists. So this was the introduction part, the chorus part. These are the characters, remember this, okay? And of course I'm discussing the stories. Here is the structure. Let us begin with part 1. Now as the part 1 starts, there are 3 priests who enter the hall, and they also lament about Thomas's absence, and then they are having a debate on the sufferings that they have gone through since Thomas Becket left. And they are debating on this fact that what will happen. Either the situations are going to worsen, or there are chances that there would be a patch-up between Thomas Becket and the king. So this is what these 3 priests I have mentioned here. These are the 3 priests, chorus we have done. So they are discussing this. They keep coming in the play and telling you things. Okay, that is how this is a poetic drama, how things are unrevealing, how things are revealing, not unrevealing. Then the herald arrives, bringing news that Thomas has returned to England and will soon arrive there. He will arrive in Canterbury. And the herald also mentions that Thomas's return does not indicate any reconciliation, as who were discussing. These 3 priests, they were discussing that maybe there can be a reconciliation. They were debating over this thing, but the herald makes it very clear that there is no scope of reconciliation with Henry, and express again something violent is soon to follow after Archbishop's arrival. So these people, they are fearing, they are lamenting, and then they are talking of violence that might take place. So all negative things are being discussed in the very beginning of the play. Now herald leaves, and priests, these 3 priests, one by one, they will speak of or about Thomas's time when he was Chancellor of England, Church of England, how efficient he was, and how the things were very good when he served as the secular administrator under the King of England, that is Henry II. This is what the first priest is discussing. What is he discussing? He's discussing about Thomas Becket's life when he was Chancellor in England. And the second priest insults them and insists that they should get ready to welcome Thomas Becket. Then you see, the second priest is trying to say that we should not enter into all this. We should rather get ready to welcome Archbishop. Okay. Then Thomas enters. He enters at that time, and he says that they have some sense of the difficulty that awaits them to submit to patience, since none can truly know God's intention. Now what he's trying to say here, that we should not quarrel amongst each other. We must not argue amongst each other. I am not scared. Even I know, even I can guess that even my intuition says that something bad is about to happen. But then, being religious people, they are conditioned for what? They are conditioned to be ready to submit to the will of God. So he says, we do not know what is God's intention. So what we must do? We must just wait and watch what is to come further. Then these were the three priests. They performed their role, and then the entry of Thomas Becket is also there, and his comments. And in the very beginning, we get to know that he has this notion in his mind to submitting to the will of God, and his religious notions, let me put it in few words. Okay. Next is, these are the 4 tempters who enter next in part 1, and these tempters, they are kind of the evil in us, or what we call the Satan in us, which tempts us to do wrong things, tempts us or tempts our integrity. And this is what these 4 tempters are gonna do. They are gonna try to tempt the integrity of Thomas Becket. So they are nothing, these 4 tempters are nothing but they are forms of Saturn. Now, what role the first tempter is performing? The first tempter reminds Thomas of his youth and tempts him to relinquish his responsibilities in favor of a more carefree life, that settle things with the king and lead a happy life. The second one, first tempter is just telling him about his youth time and how relaxed and how happy he was. The second one suggests Thomas to meet and reclaim the title of the chancellor, since he could do more good for the poor through a powerful political post than he could do as a religious figure. Now, this is second temptation that is being given to him, that patch up with the king and settle things in the favor of the common people. Okay, not just for himself, but for the sake of the common people. And the third tempter tells him that the citizens are already against the king. Many people in the government also are against the king. So why don't you patch up with them and break away with the king? And most of the people will be on your side, right? So why don't you just try to overpower the king, throw the king, become the king yourself, So this is the third tempter's temptation that goes to him, that break the new ground in government, go against the king and you become the king. So that is the third tempter. But Thomas Becket, he rejects all the 3 tempters, and the 4th tempter enters and suggests the idea of martyrdom. What is martyrdom? What is to be a martyr? When you sacrifice your life for a good cause. So this is the temptation of the 4th tempter, that what you do, Thomas, you sacrifice your life for the cause of the church, for the cause of the religion. And what will happen in this way? In this way, you will be remembered for ages. Your enemies will be hated for ages. Your enemy, the king. You will be remembered as a person who has sacrificed his life for the sake of religion. And of course, you will have fame to yourself after death. So what he says? He enters and suggests the idea of martyrdom, which would give Thomas the greatest dominion over his enemies, right? And he would be remembered throughout the ages if he allowed himself to die for the church. And what he says, you will be worshipped even after death. and there will be nothing great at all about your enemies, but you will be remembered as a great person. You will be remembered as a martyr. Now this shakes Thomas. Why? Because this was a thought that was coming to his mind often when he was in his solitude mood, solitary mood. And he wondered that what if I do this? Maybe, if you try to find out a reason why he's come back now, when he knows that things can't be settled with the king, for what reason he has come back? Maybe this is the reason that he wants to be a martyr, but not for being remembered as somebody very great, somebody who has martyred himself for the cause of religion, but what over here he is he is saying is that not for fame I will opt for martyrdom, but I will take it as the will of God. Okay, this is what he says. So he's shaken by this, for he has often entertained this idea in his private moments. And he announces that he will not opt for martyrdom, take martyrdom for fame, but he will submit to will of God. This is what he will do. Okay? He will opt not for this reason, but he will opt for this reason. So these are the tempters. 4 tempters. What they are doing, they are presenting to us the thoughts that are coming in the mind of Thomas Becket. And with this, the part 1 comes to an end when the role of the tempters is over. And yes, we as readers are introduced to the theme of the play, that is martyrdom. Next is the interlude. Interlude again is a way of which is used in poetic drama where sermons are given, and here Thomas Becket preaches a sermon in which he restates the lesson he learned at the end of part 1. What is the lesson he has learned? That he will submit to the will of God. That is the lesson, and he's sermonizing about that lesson. And then the interlude, you must remember that where it is set in the cathedral. On Christmas morning in 1170. 2nd December he came back, and then on the Christmas morning in 1170 he is giving this sermon. And in the sermon, Becket considers the mystery of Christianity, which both mourns and celebrates the fact of Jesus Christ, his death. Now you know what has been done here. Eliot, being a poetic drama, what Eliot has done over here, he has tried to connect the crucifixion of Christ to, guess what? Yes, martyrdom of Thomas Becket. Okay? People will mourn his death as well as they will celebrate his death. Why was Christ's death mourned? Because he was crucified, right? And why people celebrated it? Because he sacrificed his life. Christ sacrificed his life for the sake of humanity. And the same aspect can be connected to Thomas Becket's martyrdom also. And this is the purpose which interlude is. This is the purpose which interlude is showing us somehow. That is the importance of the interlude, where it is trying to build up a connection between these two sacrifices. The sacrifice made by Christ and the sacrifice made by Thomas Becket. Okay? So this is the interlude. I'm not going into many details because the presenters will do that, but yes, I'm hinting about things as I have to deal with the whole of the synopsis of the play. Okay, so now I move on to part 2. Now part 2 is again in the Archbishop Hall, and the date is, do remember this, okay? I'm telling you this for a reason, that where the settings of each and every part of the play, you know, where they are happening. So this was 2nd December, this was Christmas, and now this is set in Archbishop's Hall. On 29 December 1170. Okay. Now enters the next set of characters. The 4 knights. They are being called boorish knights or drunkard knights, who are drunk, and they enter and they insist that they have come here to as they are being sent by whom? By King Henry. So they enter, they insist that they are on King Henry's business from France, and they demand to meet whom? They demand to meet Thomas Becket. Thomas arrives over there, he meets them, and he is insulted by them. They are drunk, they are boorish, right? And they say that he has shown only disloyalty towards King Henry and has misused his position to incite opposition in England. So what accusations these 4 knights are deploying on the Archbishop or on Henry Becket, Thomas Becket, not Henry Becket, Thomas Becket, that he is trying to kind of instigate a civil war within England, right? He's trying to pull people on his side. He's trying to make the citizen against the king. So with this business they come here and they call him disloyal. Thomas denies, and he says that he is ready to die even when necessary, but he denies the accusations that are put by these 4 knights. Then the knights, they try to make the first attempt to attack him, and they are interrupted by whom? By the priest. They try to attack him, but they try to save him. Thomas continues to deny their claims and insults them as overly concerned with petty political matters. So he says, why are you coming to the church and discussing these petty political matters? Moreover, you should be punished for being drunk and coming to the church. Angry, the knights are angry, and they threatened the priests with death if they let Becket escape, and then the knights leave. So when he says them that you cannot discuss unnecessary petty politics over here, they leave the place and they warn the priests that if you fled him, if you help him to run away, you too will be killed. And the knights leave. After a while, they again come back, and the priest, they are begging whom? Thomas Becket to flee from there, run from there, okay? But Thomas refuses. Then the knights force him into the cathedral against his protestations, and the priest, they bar the door, and Thomas accuses them and says that he is accepting God's plan. Now he's saying that if it is God's plan that I be murdered by these boorish knights who are being sent by the king, then I have to follow this. I have to submit to the will of God. Finally, the priests open the door, and the knights, who are again drunk, they enter. They demand that Thomas should lift all excommunications he has put on English rulers. Now, what are these excommunications? Excommunications are certain official rules in which related to the church where the English rulers have no roles. So, what are these knights demanding? That these excommunications be lifted. Remember this please, है ना? Excommunications be lifted on the excommunications that are put on the English rulers, he must lift them. Give the whole power of the church to the English rulers. He refuses, and Thomas Becket refuses, and these four knights, they jump on him and they stab him, they murder him, they kill him, and there is whole bloodshed over there. Now while Thomas is being murdered, who comes in? Roll of chorus. They are lamenting that these four knights, they will now have to lead a life in the shadow of the Thomas's martyrdom. Okay, and then this is what chorus announces, and after that, one by one, the four knights will come and they will give a justification of why did they become part of this cruel act of murdering the archbishop. After the murder is done, the four knights, they address the audience to explain themselves and defend their actions. Now the first knight has no argument to give and he simply introduces the next knight. The second knight, he says, he understands how audience and history will hate them, but he begs the audience to realize the knights were disinterested in the murder. They did not want to murder him, but they were just following the king's orders. They were merely following the orders that were necessary for the good of England. And the third knight, he says, very interesting explanation, or I must say a very interesting argument. He says that Becket was guilty of betraying English people. Not the English king, but he betrayed the English people and hence he was killed justly. Okay? Because he betrayed us, he betrayed the English people, so we killed him. And the fourth one suggests that Becket willed his own death. It was not death, it was suicide. Sorry, it was not murder, it was suicide. So the fourth knight suggests that Becket willed his own death by pursuing martyrdom for the sake of pride, and hence he is guilty of suicide. He is not a martyr, but he has committed suicide. And why he did this? He did this for the sake of pride. This is the argument given by the fourth knight, right? Now, once the knights leave, the priest lament the death of Thomas Becket and worry what will happen to the country, what will happen to the world, what will fall on to the world, what repercussions the world will face or England will face. The chorus gives the final speech. So everywhere you will find the chorus, the exposition, the resolution. Chorus is everywhere. It has a very, very significant role to play. Chorus gives the final speech revealing that they have accepted their duty as Christians. They are happy that he sacrificed his life for the sake of humanity, and they are sad that they have lost a very good archbishop. They acknowledge that they will live up to the sacrifice Thomas made is difficult, but that they will be spiritually richer for taking this challenge, and they beg mercy. Who begs? The chorus. Now the chorus is again the English people somehow being represented, but of course they are the old women of the Canterbury over here, right? But now what they are doing, a spiritual, a religious end to the play that is coming through the words of the chorus, and they are seeking forgiveness from whom? From Thomas as well as from God. Okay? So, the concluding part or the resolution that comes in again comes from the mouth of the chorus. Okay, and in this manner the play Murder in the Cathedral comes to an end. So this was a brief synopsis, a story of the play. These are the various characters. I must first of all add the name of Thomas Becket also, because over here King Henry II is not one of the characters, but of course Becket is the character. Their dialogues are there of his, and then all these characters have a role to play. So I hope the story with its various complications would be clear to you. How well knit play it is, obviously based on the structure of Greek tragedies. Remember this part also. I will be dealing with poetic drama there also. I will tell you, Greek tragedies, or let us say Greek dramatists. Greek drama, why dramatist? The structure is based on that, because we must remember, as I told you in the introduction part also, that it was intentionally that Eliot did not want to copy the pattern of Elizabethan dramatist, right? So he followed whom? He followed the ancient Greek dramatist. The structure is taken from there, and the category to which the play belongs, that is the poetic drama, is again taken from the same source, right? Inspiration, of course, you know what is the inspiration of the play. I am not talking about the inspiration source, but I am talking about the structure, the organization, how the play has been organized and structured. Okay, so that is all for this. Things will become clear as you all will be discussing it, and that is all for the story part.